So I think we're finally starting to see a lot of great powers. We could probably predict a few of them. I don't think I want to. I think we could, but I think you guys can in the comment section below. But there's clearly some teams that are looking really, really good right now. But let's go ahead and check over the religion overview first before I talk about some powers that are in the game. But I do want to mention one team that became pretty much legitimized by the fall of Morocco was the Vandals and Songhai. They automatically just, boom, have become a really, really strong force, I think, in Northwest Africa. And we will see. Now, they will ultimately have to face, I think, the Moors in battle, which will call in the other great African power, the Egyptians. I imagine that the Carthaginians will fall at some point, but I mean, geez, Songhai and Morocco Songhai and the Vandals look better than ever before. Anyways, okay, so I talked about I've been meaning to do this for a while actually, but let's check over religion. 43 cities have fallen to the Hungarian Empire, Catholicism. I guess not really fallen, but have converted over to Catholicism. Budapest is the holy city for that one. Maybe this is why the Sumer are doing so well. They have 23 cities under their belts with Confucianism. Arabia only has, well, they've got almost just as much. They've divided up Europe into Confucianism and Buddhism, which is kind of funny. The fall of Morocco and Islam has not really grown much. They've got 18, so a lot of Western Europe, I think, is following Islam, right? Yeah, it is. Interesting. Well, mainly Iberia, up until Iberia, and then there's this kind of, is this irony? This is irony, right? I think so. The Catholicism, Islam, kind of fighting it out here around this time period. This is a little bit late for in specifically this time period, but yes. And then we have very, very weak religions: Hinduism, Judaism from the Papal States, and Austria. We should check on just Hungary's beliefs because they are such a dominant religion, almost double the second place religious people. Missionary zeal, so fast their missionary strength, that probably helped them convert cities. Cathedrals, which is pretty good. Gain science so maybe that's keeping Austria Hungary so high in science. If their missionaries are stronger and they get science from each missionary conversion, that's a big deal. Use faith for mosques, so cathedrals and mosques. They got a really good wombo combo belief system here. Influence boosts, gold gifts to city-states, ouch. And then God King is their pantheon belief. Okay, let's go to the next video. Let's go to the next turn. No, I'm not going to end the video that soon. There were a few peace deals that happened last video. It didn't really matter. It was just Austria and Hungary peacing out with a bunch of nations that, these wars have been going on for a lot longer than I think we all were thinking about. And new big one is Denmark going after Bavaria. That's the new big one. I don't think Scotland is going to get involved too heavily. It's mainly going to be just Denmark sending in troops. Denmark clearly has open borders with Switzerland, so this might be interesting. France, that means France and the Hittites have peaced out, which means that, France and the Hittites are on a team together, which means that Greece and the Hittites have peaced out, which means no longer much threat here. So the Hittites are not looking as powerful as they once were. They're down to 3 cities. They lost these 2 cities here. The Huns are looking even stronger. Bam. Now they're starting to surround the Caspian Sea. So the Huns are starting to look better and better. The Umayyad finding Jerusalem. But the Goths and the Huns are becoming a bigger thorn in Russia and Novgorod's side. There's a big war still going on between Austria and the Goths. Right now, well, I think it's too late. Austria had declared war on Poland, Prussia, but it's too late at this point, I think, unless they peace out right now with the Goths. The Goths are too powerful. You might even lose a city at the end of all this, because now the Greeks are going to start to get involved. They can run. They're starting to come back from the east, and they're going to help out. And right now, both Austria and Hungary were just fighting the Goths, while the Greeks went and defended their empire here in the east. They're going to start to come back over this way. They don't realize what's about to happen, I don't think. That's the strength of this team, I think. The Goths are able to defend 2, medium-tiered civs. Maybe Hungary is a little bit lower than a medium-tiered civ, but still. And by themselves. Here comes the Greeks. All right. So they'll certainly destroy everything Austria has. Will anybody else join in? Now, Munich is involved in a war. I don't think Bohemia would get involved. I don't think Prague is strong enough, although Salzburg is pretty weak, but Bohemia might decide to join in and go after Salzburg. Bavaria has their hands tied. You know, the Papal States in Rome aren't doing anything. Oh, the Papal States finally settled Sardinia. There you go. And then Sicily will be settled by the Greeks. Greeks looking so good. So good. It's crazy. Still a lot of opportunity for a lot of different civs, though. Again, we talked about the great powers, and I'd love to know who you guys think are the great power teams at the moment. There are some clear ones. Obviously, Russia, Novgorod. We could just look at the score pretty much. Greece and the Goths. Catherine and Novgorod. Team 3 still. I mean, because Ramses is carrying the Moors on their back, I don't know if I would consider them that high, but, you know, who knows? Definitely, yeah, Songhai and the Vandals have an interesting opportunity. France and the Hittites, they're not looking as powerful as maybe they were looking a few videos ago. Here's Austria and Hungary, the Austrian-Hungary alliance. Definitely the Huns, but then they have Bavaria that they have to hold on to. That would be the issue. And whoever ends up kind of consolidating in the Middle East would have a lot of power. I'd consider maybe the Armenians and William, but I don't know. William ends up usually doing a good job, but he needs to take over some cities first. And so does Armenia, but they have a good opportunity possibly here. I think still Spain and Great Britain could end up doing something. I think they could just, boom, if Great Britain starts to dominate the British Isles and Ireland, and Spain starts to maybe take over the Moors or the Portuguese, I mean, there's still a lot of room for great powers to arise, and I can almost guarantee you that they will. Powers will arise. Oh, I didn't realize that France was still going after Bern. They do have their musketeers. This is kind of a big deal. Does France have anything else? No, not really. British Redcoat. That's an interesting, unique unit. That's kind of cool. This is it, though. If France doesn't take over Bern here, they will not be able to take it over at all. Denmark moving after Munich. The Goths are starting to close in on Budapest somewhat here. Somewhat starting to close in. Huns going after another city. Looks like they're going to settle right in the middle of the Gothic Empire. At the end of the day, though, a single civ, if Bavaria does get destroyed, the Huns could end up still being the end of the Goths and the Greeks. Because the Huns could dominate solo, because the Huns would never have to face the Greeks. They could just, you know, one-on-one versus the Goths. That would be big. Of course, Russia could play a huge role in something like that, though. If a conflict like that were to break out, that would be a huge role that they would play, depending on which side they would take, or if they decide to stay neutral in the conflict. That would also be just equally as huge. Here goes Scotland. I think Scotland is going to try to get involved here. This is going to be too tough, I think, for them to get anything done. By far too tough. And here come the Greeks. Oh, man. Definitely the Greeks are coming. Greeks' navy is looking stronger, too. Here goes another Egyptian settler. Egypt's having a tough time now, kind of finding where to settle at the moment. Songhai and the Vandals working together. Their colors seem to somewhat work together. Almost. They look good together as a team. Look at Spain lining up the borders up here. Look at that. Bam. That's something interesting you don't normally see. Kind of seeing a line like that drawn with units. The Moors have no military. Look at that. The Moors have nothing. They have a trebuchet and a boat. So what you doing, Spain? What are you doing? Also, Portugal is very weak as well. Portugal is extremely weak. I know that I thought that the British pieced out. Ooh. So that would be Russia. Russia and Novgorod going after the Hittites. Yeah, nothing will result from that war. But there might be something that we're seeing here. Yep, yes, that is what I thought. Okay, so this is huge. This is very, very huge. Let's forget, first of all, the tides will turn in Switzerland. Switzerland will probably end up turning the tide because the French are going to have to retreat. The British from Birmingham could launch an assault here. Scotland could pose a threat, possibly. Denmark is going to be too, I think, preoccupied with Munich. But this is a three-front war that Napoleon will have to face. A three-front war. The Hittites are weak enough now to the point where they're kind of sandwiched in between Armenia, the Huns, the Greeks and the Umayyads. The Hittites can't do anything for the French at this moment. This would be a very huge empire to fall here in Western Europe, depending on who does it. And remember, I mean, the British had a huge military in the Info-Attics. Spain, I think, is going to capture back. Boom, there goes that. So Denmark's no longer after Bavaria, which means Denmark could now set their sights on France if they want. We know that Denmark has open borders so far. This is a three-front war, possibly support from Switzerland's side from the Danish could play a major role. Paris, right here, open for an attack. 19 population city, and we do see the British Redcoat, their unique ability, or their unique unit. Not sure how powerful they are, but we'll see. Here goes Spain going after Troyes. And the good thing for Spain is they don't, we just talked about it. The Moors have no units, and Portugal has no units. Which, yeah, I realize that this would be easy pickings for Isabella at the moment, but they don't have to really face a threat that these two would go after them. I mean, maybe Portugal, but Portugal's with pikemen. How far behind in technology is Portugal? Holy crap. This could be a huge shift in the tide, especially if Spain and the British can do this efficiently. Spain can set their sights back on the Moors and Portugal and still have a very significant victory over both of them. Remember that there is a French... Oh, that's right. Boom. I just remembered that right now. There's a French city here, which means Scotland will take this over. More than likely, unless maybe Norway gets involved, but I don't think so. Norway's in a lot of trouble. This will keep the Hittites isolated. They'll be on their own pretty much, which they've been on their own. What France and the Hittites desperately needed was for both of them to individually be successful in each region. But that is off the board now. I mean, I don't think that is going to happen now. Here they come. Here come the British. They're also utilizing their open borders agreement with William, which means they'll be able to attack Paris down. If Paris falls, that's massive. Oh, Troyes is no longer under attack, but Tours is. Is Milan involved? I don't... That would mean that, well, Milan is allied to the Umayyad. I don't know. I don't think, yeah, because we would see a lot of things going on here. Yeah, no, that's not happening. What's Austrian Hungary? The Austrian Hungary plan for the Goths? Nothing really. I mean, I think it's kind of stalled out here. The Greeks are somewhat coming, but maybe not as aggressively as we maybe initially thought. The Goths still looking powerful, though. All right, well, this seems to be the focus. We need to see what the British do. We need to see what the Spanish do. Danish aren't really moving that far into Swiss territory to attack the French. But this city will fall soon, which will still be a somewhat of a significant loss for Napoleon. Tours would be a big one too. So I think Spain will focus on this. If the British capture Paris, that would be it. I think that's enough. That's all you need. That's not all you need, but that would be enough to do a significant amount of damage for the French. There might be also an equally as powerful coalition that builds in the Middle East now that the Hittites no longer have an ally. As powerful as they were, at least. This is all very complicated stuff. So the siege of Paris hasn't begun. There goes the first French city. This is it. The British need to send everything after this. I mean, at this point, it doesn't even matter. I know the Scottish are pretty powerful in, the northern part of the British Isles, but at this point, they got to do it. They have no other option here. They need to send all their forces, and it looks like they kind of are. It depends. There's a lot of musketeers, though, so maybe they won't be successful. Yeah, there sure are a lot of musketeers that the French still end up having. They're still having. Unless they move down south to face the threat of Spain, which they're not. They're actually more worried, more concerned about Paris, which is smart. Then yeah, they're going to just defend their capital. Ooh. Still, Spain picking up a few cities would be a big deal. Would still lead to some success. Carthage and Greece still going at it, but no significant winner so far. The Middle East is still very divided. The Huns might start to invade, though, which would be a smart move since it is so divided. That'd be useful. Okay, so wait a second. always forgetting. Oh, it's the Umayyad. The Netherlands, which the Netherlands are allied to Armenia. So really, it's the Umayyads versus the Armenians. That's what that means. All right, we'll see what that happens. We'll see what happens there. I forgot that Assyria is still alive. Austria's peaced out with Poland, but they have not peaced out with the Goths. Here's the thing. I think the Goths see an opening. The Goths still see that they have a significant advantage in terms of numbers versus militaries. So they're going to try to exploit that. That's why they're staying in this war. Austria declared the war for Poland after the Goths were at war with them. This has been going on for a while, which means that the Goths will probably not let them peace out yet. There's too much on the table. So they see something. Maybe the Goths will have more success than we're giving them credit for. That's at least what it seems like. Bohemia has still been quiet. Denmark maybe moving through William's territory. We'll see if the British begin their attack. Ooh, no, maybe not. They lost a unit. Here goes Spain, unless Spain's already moved. I don't know if they have or not. But Spain will take over Tours if they haven't. A few peace deals. So Carthage is peaced out with a few. Okay, so the Arabians, there it goes. Bam, Tours has fallen. The Huns will be going after Bulgaria. Ooh, this is confusing. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, geez. Every single war, I'm just like, oh, no. Yeah, that's going to be a lot to account for. That is a lot. So I think it's, well, let's see here. Paris is now under siege, and the Swiss are over here as well. They're coming over here, trying to start this up. Lots of range units from the British to the north, which is smart. Tours has fallen. We've got Arabia and Bulgaria. So Egypt's going to take over Arabia, I think. This doesn't matter. Poland, Prussia, that doesn't matter. I don't think so. The Huns are going to take over Bulgaria. That's going to happen. We see that France and Arabia, that's just, I think everyone declared war against Arabia. So Arabia is going to take this over. The Egyptians will have, I think, a lot of success if they should have had more units already in the Arabian Peninsula. But some other people might declare war on Arabia. And then the Umayyad are also in war, which the Umayyad are also at war with the Armenians to the north. So that makes it more complicated. They're going to be facing the Babylonians as well now. Oh, man. I'm going to go to the next turn. I'm going to go to the next turn, and hopefully we'll be able to keep this all in our head. I'll probably have to do like maybe a diplomacy overview of all the wars. So Carthage no longer has to face a threat from Ramses. And what else do we see? Spain now setting their sights more than likely on Troyes. Switzerland has been pushed back by the French slightly. How much will Denmark send? They're sending pikemen, which are behind in technology, so I don't know if those are really going to make a difference. I just want to see what Spain does and what the British do. Okay, yep, they're going to go after Troyes. Again, if France is eliminated to 3 cities, that would be that'd be enough, I think, to give both the British and Spain a pretty big advantage. I don't want to necessarily say they'd be a great power at that point, but you know, who knows? The British are having a lot of success here, and they still have a little bit more units they could send over if they need to. This is big. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna have to stop right there. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and check real quick on this area. Still a lot of conflict in this region. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.